My name is Angèle Taylor, and I'm a strategic solutions architect here with 4Point. And today on 4Point Pathways, I want to discuss how we can overcome legacy restraints that people feel they have for their documents that is causing them to not be able to update their forms, their data capture. So we've had some videos that we talked about, and we discussed what a document was and how that's your record of your transaction. And then we talked about forms and how they're the front end data capture. We talked about the importance of customer experience and the benefits to an organization for spending the time to be able to update our data captures. I want to spend some time today, though, looking at specific problems that people feel they have so that they can't move forward. So an example here is it's a regulated document. I have to have it. It needs to be exactly like this. Again, this is your document and not your data capture. If you watched our very first video, we talked about how the data capture is independent of the document, the final document that needs to be there. All you need to do is make sure that all of the elements are captured. They can be rearranged in a different order. They can pull from existing sources. All you need to do is make sure you have all of the specific elements, and then you can merge it in at the end to create that final copy. Even if that final copy needs to be printed, you can print it for it, your customer. They don't need to print it. So saying that you need to have a regulated document is not a reason to not be able to do your data capture in a different format. To say that your document needs to be part of a more complex portfolio, there's a bunch of sub-documents that need to be associated with it, and this is just one piece that goes with everything else. Again, it's just a more complicated version of this is just a document and this is the data capture. We just need to know what the elements are and where they can be, we can capture them ourselves. Take it a step further though, because it's a portfolio or a bunch of documents together, the odds are you're going to run into having the same elements needing to be captured over and over again. We're able to analyze what all the different elements are and create a data capture so that they only have to be asked once. Simplifying the process so that way we don't have to clutter our screens and make it more confusing for customers, or even take them longer to fill it out. If we can reduce the amount of time it takes them to complete them, they're far more likely to actually complete it. Another problem people are having is that they're in poor formats to begin with. If people are using print forms, they may be using Excel or Word, and these don't translate as well to fillable forms on your computer or on your mobile devices. So you have to actually change the format of your document. And that is a hurdle. That's a technology problem, but it's a technology problem, so it's easy to solve by just expanding your tool set. You can move to PDFs, which have fillable forms elements. PDFs, though, are legacy themselves because you're not able to fill out a PDF in a web browser anymore. Web browsers are no longer supporting fillable PDFs. It's a security risk. So you actually have to move from a PDF to a different format. And there are more modern format versions like your HTML5 and your adaptive forms. HTML5 being very similar to your PDF. It looks and feels like a PDF, but it is accessible within the browser and allows for browsers to actually run the form without the security risks. And then an adaptive form, which is where I would recommend you should be going, that's the dream goal of where you want to be, that allows for a single source to be able to control the look and feel of your form regardless of the screen that it's on. That's why they call it an adaptive form. It automatically adjusts the screen resolution that's using it. So you have one master version of the form, and it will update for the mobile device you're using it, whether it's an iPhone or a Samsung, whatever it is. And then if you wanted to fill it out on your TV monitor, because some people use TV monitors for like boardrooms and things, the form automatically adjusts to take the proper screen resolution. You do not have to have multiple versions. The intelligence is built into the form. So If you can get into a better digital format, that allows you some more flexibility on how you can create better data captures. Now, the big stickler one that I hear most often, and which is why I left it to the end, wet signatures. People feel that even if they have a more modern version of a data capture, they feel they still need to have somebody print it out, sign it, and then resubmit that signature document. Now, there are digital signatures out there. So you can have your digital signature attached to your data capture and they can sign within the data capture, whatever format you want. But I want to challenge the thought here. Why do you have a signature on your document in the first place? Is it a legally binding signature, or is it just a formality that you have to have? For example, when a package comes to my house, anybody in my house can sign it. Like, anybody can sign it. They just need a signature to say there was a human being here and they acknowledge that they received the item. It's similar whenever you use your credit card, and most people don't ask you to sign for your credit card anymore. I don't remember the last time I've actually had to sign for it, but back in the day, you had to sign for a credit card. But anyone could sign it. I mean, I used to sign for my mother's and my father's whenever they would have like pizza delivered to the house, and I have to like sign it because they were busy doing something else, that kind of thing. So nobody has to have a signature for those cases, but there are times where you do need to have a legally binding signature, where you have to make sure that this person is the person that they say they are. And in person, you usually have a witness who would go ahead and sign that. And people, that's the concern there, is if it's an actual legally binding signature, I need to make sure that that's the person they are. And if it's from a digital interface, how do I confirm that? And there are tools that exist that allow you to have a legally binding signature, and they have a validation system behind that to confirm that the person who signed this document is the person who actually say that they are, right? So to say that you need signatures, you really need to think about, why do you need the signature? And either way, you can have the signature on your document. The reason I'm trying to differentiate them is a cost thing, right? Because this is a technology piece that you have to add to your forms to be able to have the digital signature. But if it's a legally binding one, you need to have a tool that is capable of having that certification. If it is more of I just need acknowledgement, you don't have to have the full-blown tool. There are workarounds. You can either have the lighter version of the digital signatures, which essentially allows somebody to scribble their name into it, and it's saved as an image. It's just not legally binding. It's the same thing as if I just signed a piece of paper here, right? Nobody's certifying that I am Angèle Taylor when I sign the document. You can have that as well, but you also have other workarounds. You could use a checkbox for acknowledgement that you did look at it and you did approve it. So there are other workarounds, and I just want to make sure that you understand why the problem is there. And that goes for all of the things that we discussed today. Just because you have a format or a procedure that you're following to today doesn't mean you have to do it the same way. And you have to think critically about it. Why are we doing it? Why do I need the signature? Why are we putting it in a portfolio? Why does it have to be a print version? If you can understand why, because in the case of a portfolio, it has to go into a different set and I don't own the set. We know what the problem is, so now you can work around it. You still need to have that document, which is fine, but you still don't have to have the same front end. You can have some flexibility, making sure that you get the same outcome, because you want to, as long as you know where you're going, you can plan it out. Those were some common issues that we've heard, and now we've kind of looked at the whole hierarchy of what a document is, what a form is, what the benefit of changing our front end is, and looking at overcoming some of these more complicated restraints that people feel that they have. Next, I want to invite you to make sure you're actually watching the video. I want to do a little demonstration for you so that you can see what a front end could potentially be, where your goal should be at the end of creating new customer data captures. I will describe it, so if you can't actually see it, I'll do my best to try to explain what's on the screen at any given time, but I think it will be beneficial to actually watch it, and I hope you tune in to see it.